Do you keep searching for videos about how to price your wholesale inventory for your boutique? Well, look no further. Listen, there's a lot of bad advice out there. I want to go one level deeper and talk to you about how to price your inventory so that you make a profit and that you understand what that actually means. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Emily Benson. Welcome to my channel. I am a boutique consultant and mindset coach for boutique owners. I help them with their business. I had my own boutique. I worked in corporate retail. I wrote a book. Now I'm here consulting, helping women and men take their boutiques from nothing to multiple six figures per month. I'm psyched you're here because I have helped so many people and I'm ready to help you next. So stay here. Let's get into this topic. Okay, my first tip on how to price is do not listen to people in Facebook groups. They don't know what they're talking about. Everyone's got their money mindset running amok everywhere, all over Facebook groups. You should not take other people's random advice for how to price things. Okay? You are running your business in the way that works best for you. So I need you to figure out the math on your own. I'm gonna tell you how to do that right now because a lot of people are out here saying, take your wholesale price, add shipping, times it by 2. Take your wholesale price, times it by 2, and add $5. You can price wherever you want. My recommendation is always to take your wholesale, times it by 3, add a little shipping, add a little more shipping, and boom, you've got a retail price. Now, why I tell you that is because when you just start out your boutique, you are focused on selling for a higher profit margin than you are selling units. So you're really looking for money over volume. Once you switch and you're selling like hundreds of units of everything, okay, yeah, you can take a little bit lower of a margin on things, but when you're just starting out, we're trying to make you as much money as possible. So don't underprice yourself. One of the ways you will very quickly know that you're underpricing yourself is you just have no money left. At the end of the month, you've made a bunch of money and you don't have any left. Or you haven't made a lot of money and you don't have a lot of money left. To understand what really is the right formula for you, you want to break this down. So take out a piece of paper. You ready? Start writing this down. I want you to write down, what are your expenses? What do you have to pay for? Do you have a warehouse? Do you have overhead? Do you have to pay for a website? You have expenses, whether you have an online boutique or a brick and mortar, you do. Write all of those out. That's important to take into account. I want you to take into account taxes. Yes, you have to pay your taxes, and that's about 15% of your sales. If you made $1,000 last month, oh, by the way, you need to pay $150 in taxes. Income taxes, right? It's not sales tax. Sales tax is a whole nother thing. You also need to account for reinvesting in inventory. That can be anywhere between 1/3 to 1/2 of your total monthly revenue. So once you start to do that math, I mean, your money's gone. This is where you've really got to get real with yourself because I think what happens so often is people don't do the math out. They're just like,
I'm gonna charge this and I'm gonna spend money on this and then I'm gonna just hope and pray and maybe I'll be okay at the end of the month.
This is math, and I know so many of us had terrible experiences in school in trigonometry and algebra and all that stuff, but this is basic addition and subtraction. And if you have trouble with this, please let me know. I don't want to shame anyone for not getting down and dirty on their math, but this is the difference between being a hobby business and being like a long-term business that actually has growth potential, is understanding the math and the data behind it. And so I want to teach you, if you're having trouble understanding how this all breaks down, comment below. No shame in the math game. I remember when I first started my own corporate retail career, I had to ask my boss how to calculate percentages. I went to art school for college, so I just didn't know how to do it. But I learned really quick, and now it's really easy and I know how to do it and it's all good. But that's what I'm saying, is so many of us haven't done math in years. We haven't like figured this stuff out in so long. So No shame in the math game. Post below if you need help. Blended average. Now, I talk about this in another video. We're gonna pop the link over here. But blended average is important to understand. So I always talk 3x markup because that's easy. When you come work with me or we look at your numbers one-on-one or you're in a group program, we can go one level deeper. That's when we start to talk about blended average, because at the end of the day, it's not just about having a blanket margin on everything. It's about having a markup / margin and looking at how many units you're buying of that. So you have to think about this as, I like to think about blended average as like weighted scales. So, or like a seesaw. Let's imagine you go on a seesaw with your kid, okay? Your kid's like 5 years old and you're an adult. You're like a normal, healthy size adult. So if your kid gets on that seesaw and they are a 40% margin on something, let's say it's like a 2x markup. You are you're a 200-pound adult, which is like make you good size, 220. And you are a 3x margin item. What's gonna happen is you're actually gonna be weighted more than they are. So that's gonna bring your blended average up to like a 2.5, probably even higher because your kid's probably only like 50 pounds. So that's gonna bring your blended average up higher because you weigh more. Think about that weight as the number of units you bought. So if you bought 220 units of something that was a 3x markup, that's really gonna tip the scales. Whereas if you only bought 50 units of something that was a 2x markup, that's not gonna really move the needle if you're buying that many units, right? Because that would be like a total of 270 units. So it would be a much smaller percentage. Are you tracking? This is like kind of a weird analogy, but in my head it works, so hopefully it's working for you. This blended average can go the opposite way. So imagine you at 220 units / 220 pounds, you're at a 2x markup, and your kid with their 50 pounds / 50 units is at the 3x. Guess what? Now everything's getting weighted a little bit down because your 2x is a little bit heavier. So those 50 units out of that 270 units are at a 2x markup. So it's bringing you down much more. Okay. So my point is that how much you buy actually affects your margin because it creates that blended margin, that blended average margin. Okay, so let's talk about the very last thing that is so important and can really change your mindset around pricing. What I often see is that people get their wholesale license and then they go and they start shopping. And they get so excited and they put things in their cart and they're like, oh, I'm gonna buy all this stuff. And then it comes in and then they start to price and they start to do what I say, like, oh, mark up 3 times and then add your shipping. And then, you know, if you're offering free shipping, add shipping there. And they're like freaking out. I'm like, I can't charge this much. Take 2 steps back. Don't buy anything until you know what you can charge for it. So instead of starting with wholesale, start with retail. Say, how much do I want to charge for dresses? How much can I charge for shirts based on my ideal customer, based on who I'm selling to? And then once you know, okay, here's my retail price structure, here's how much I'm gonna charge for things, then you go and you buy things at wholesale and you're like, oh, okay, I shouldn't buy that because I'm not gonna get the margin I want. Or, okay, I'll buy that and I'm gonna get a crappy margin, but I'm gonna be okay with it because it's like an amazing piece. That's the difference. You're going into shopping informed with what your retail prices are instead of the opposite, going shopping and then getting all this product in and surprising yourself and freaking out because you now own all this product and you can't get a good margin on it. Just saved you so much money. All right, so if you love these tips, if you had fun with me, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thanks for joining me. If you want more of me, you want more help, you want vendors, you want weekly fun stuff, come on over to Facebook. I have this amazing group called the Boutique Training Academy Tribe. It's a free community. We're gonna drop the link here and down in the notes for this video. I hope to see you over there. Just give us your email when you join and tell us you found me on YouTube. Come join our killer community. It's pretty fun over there. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.